cause of racism to me is one group thinking that they were better than the other group, superior in some type of way, and decided that they had more power over them to conquer them. And then racism became a thing when people didn't want to mix groups. And that got really out of hand because then segregation came. Slavery, segregation, like all types of bullshit. Yes, in 2019, I see so much racism. I get so much racism. Like, there's just a lot. Racism is everywhere, dripping every single day, every hour. I bet you right now, 2 people in America have been called the N-word, probably more. It's every day. It's everywhere. It's starting to feel really, really bad, especially for my generation. Racism has definitely become normalized. We have like cameras, we have news now, we have our own outlets. It's become so normalized and glorified at the same time. Racism is a societal issue. It influences our world like every day greatly because you see a lot of people having disadvantages versus others, and people speaking up about it because now that we have like cell phones and cameras and videography, people are now showing the everyday racism that's happening in our world, and it's definitely a societal thing because it started somewhere in our communities and it got bigger like an infestation.
A number of recent incidents in this country have highlighted how racial tension or bias, even what social scientists call unconscious bias, can escalate. This spring and summer, those concerns have taken on new urgency and risen to national attention, as otherwise routine events have turned into confrontations among citizens and sometimes with the police. Yamiche Alcindor explores this issue further now. It's part of our Race Matters reporting.
Several of the latest confrontations have involved white citizens calling police on African Americans engaged in typical everyday activities, including a 12-year-old mowing lawns near Cleveland, Ohio, 2 men barbecuing at a public park in Oakland, California, or this 8-year-old girl selling bottled water without a permit outside the San Francisco Giants ballpark. The woman who called police here being captured on cell phone video posted by the girl's mother.
Girl, you can hide all you want. The whole world gonna see you, boo.
Yeah, and illegally selling water without a permit? Yeah.
On my property.
It's not your property.
The woman who made the call later apologized and denied her actions were racially motivated. Most of the incidents took place outside and in public and were caught on video that often went viral. While none of those incidents resulted in arrests or charges being filed, they followed other high-profile confrontations, including one in May that took a much more violent turn. Police in Warsaw, North Carolina, responded to a call from Waffle House employees over an alleged argument with a black patron. An officer slammed 22-year-old Anthony West into a wall and choked him. They said West, who had taken his sister to her high school prom earlier that night, was uncooperative. He was later charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. The CEO of Waffle House later apologized to West privately. And in early April, 2 black men were arrested in a Philadelphia Starbucks when employees called police because the men had taken a table without ordering anything. The men were later released and settled with the city for $1 each and a pledge to establish a program for young entrepreneurs. The founder of Starbucks personally apologized to the men.
As I shared with you in Philadelphia, it was a reprehensible situation that we took complete ownership of, and something that really was embarrassing, horrifying, and all the issues that we talked about that day.
And the company closed thousands of its stores nationwide a month later for a 1-day employee training session on how to recognize and overcome implicit or unconscious bias in their decision-making.
And now it's everywhere. And it's not just in America. People think it is, but it's not. Racism is literally everywhere.
At a young age, I was presented with the opportunity to go to Catholic school. Throughout my years, I had learned many things being African American. Racism and difference was something that wasn't apparent to me. I come from a household of Haitian culture, where love and unity is important. Starting at St. Mary's Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. In 3rd grade, my sister and I were 2 out of the 3 African Americans who attended that school at the time. And very quickly, I soon learned the color of our skin mattered to others. Being new to the Catholic Church, one has to be baptized. Our godmother is Spanish, so it was only natural for us to wear quinceañera dresses. Long story short, not soon after the ceremony, I had gotten an email. Now you're probably asking, why would a third grader have an email? Well, let me tell you, if you didn't have an email, you weren't it. I recall getting an email from someone with the address of Kununi. Due to this, I showed my mom, and within the message, it was hate mail in regards to my sister and our ceremony, degrading the way we look by our hair, our skin, our dresses, how we should return to our country, and how we should leave the school and never come back. This was my first encounter with racism.
I define ageism as age becoming a barrier or discrimination between people.
A common misconception about ageism is that it's only a problem that affects older.
I'd say ageism really started affecting me when I was in high school and I was trying to get gigs at different places around town and clubs. And I kept having a reoccurring problem of nobody would take me seriously as a 15-year-old who makes music and just wants to throw big parties. And I was really frustrating, and it was a lot of times there's people that sometimes people would laugh when I say my age, and it still happens sometimes when I'm like, yeah, I'm 18. And sometimes people just laugh and be like, what, you're that young and you're trying to still do shows in clubs and stuff that are 21, and it's been a barrier for me.
The availability for youth to play music and act upon their artistic abilities is close to none. Portland in particular has a rare scene for youth to express themselves. Many to all opportunities are 21 and up, and or people just don't take us serious. And at times it gets frustrating and a little bit belittling because we are underestimated. Ageism is something that affects the young, the old, and the in-between. It is something that affects us all. And my little way of changing that cycle by curating shows in which break those walls down, because everyone has a right to be free.
I definitely think ageism is a societal issue. It's not one of the biggest issues right now in our country, but it's definitely something I believe is an issue. I think, you should be able to get a job somewhere, whether you're 16 or you're 80 if you have the experience, and age shouldn't be a barrier.
Everybody's going to age. It is this one place that we all have something in common. Policies that are good for families should be good for people of all ages. We should be thinking of ways to have government policies that are supportive of older people, supportive of kids, supportive of people in the middle.
I think definitely you can see things of certain ages might be known for certain things. You might know a 15-year-old to be a rowdy high schooler that's super hyper and just getting into trouble. But there's plenty of people that are also that age that aren't that, and are very responsible and wise people. And there might be vice versa. There's somebody that's older that's doing the same thing. And so I think there's definitely stereotypes for ages doing certain things, but it's obviously not necessarily true like any other stereotype.
I believe what we can do as individuals to change the ideology of racism is to bring it into everywhere. Classrooms, corporate places, businesses, everywhere you can bring up racism, because people think that if we just stop talking about it, it'll go away. And I just think that's not ever a smart thing to do, because if you let your emotions not talk about it for a month, they're gonna fester up and you're gonna explode, just like racism. So it's I definitely believe if we talk about it more, but in a structured way, where not everyone feels attacked, but more included, then I think we can make change faster than we are doing right now. I think by bringing up the past, which is slavery and segregation, and then bringing up current times at the same time while showing them hand by hand the outcome that happened from slavery, the outcome that happened from segregation was not pretty. Yes, we came to a resolution, but it was a quiet one. It was a hush-hush one. To the point where now we're back up to okay, it's getting bigger. So I would bring up both sides of the coin for them to let them know, like, this is what your ancestors did and this is what ours did, and now we're doing this to each other. We should break the cycle. We need to break the cycle. We need to talk about this. We need to bring up the fact that we'd be better together than apart. There's so many issues that we both are, all of us are facing, that we could just turn around and be like, okay, let's just stop and just talk.
I think to help promote social justice and stop ageism and any other discriminations, you just, anytime you see discrimination, whether it's a big thing or a small issue, you point it out and you call it out. If you like, whether like getting a job and like you feel like age is kind of a barrier for that job when it shouldn't be, or if it's a bigger thing. I can't think off the top of my head, but I really think, just stepping in when it comes up, because I can't always think of an example, but whenever you encounter discrimination, you always have to like confront it then, and always confront it afterwards, and go and talk to legislators and things if there is huge issues. I don't really see that with ageism. We see that a lot with the
It's still important. As an African American youth musician, these two isms intersect my world. The intersectionality is close to home. Not only am I battling racism, but I'm battling ageism. Intersectionality applies to everyone. Dual discrimination that limits an individual from succeeding to their full potential. Change is inevitable, but how long will it be till we see that change? I agree with Raveana and Lucas in talking about these isms, stopping and standing up to them when they occur. I believe that we must have some type of seminar or a way to put people who do not experience these oppressions in the shoes of those who do. Unfortunately, many do not feel obligated to fight for something that doesn't affect them. So finding a way to do this may change their mind, may create a community. Social justice for all, social justice for everyone, equity and equality.